Welcome to this in-depth summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear, a groundbreaking guide on how tiny changes can lead to remarkable results. If you've ever struggled to stick with a habit, break a bad one, or achieve your goals, this book holds the key to transforming your life, starting with just one small step. In this video, we'll break down the core principles of habit formation, reveal the science behind why we do what we do, and share practical strategies you can apply immediately. Whether you're looking to improve your health, boost your productivity, or simply become the best version of yourself, these insights will set you on the path to success. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of atomic habits, where small changes truly make a big difference. Welcome to Chapter 1 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits. In this chapter, James Clear introduces the concept of atomic habits and explains why small changes can make a big difference over time. He begins by discussing the power of tiny habits, emphasizing that small improvements can lead to significant results when they are compounded over months and years. This principle, known as the compound effect, is a fundamental idea in the book. James illustrates this with a compelling analogy. If a plane adjusts its course by just a few degrees, it can end up in a completely different destination. Similarly, small habits, whether positive or negative, can lead to drastically different outcomes in our lives. He explains that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, yet the impact they deliver over months and years can be enormous. One of the key insights in this chapter is the importance of focusing on the process rather than the goal. James argues that we often focus too much on the outcomes we want to achieve, not enough on the systems and processes that lead to those outcomes. By shifting our focus to the daily habits and routines that drive our behaviors, we can make lasting changes. James introduces the idea of the 1% improvement, suggesting that if you can get 1% better each day, those small gains will accumulate into remarkable improvements over time. He provides examples from various fields, such as sports, business, and health, where tiny improvements have led to extraordinary success. He also discusses the impact of habits on our self-identity. Our habits shape our identity, and in turn, our identity shapes our habit. By focusing on who we want to become rather than what we want to achieve, we can align our habits with our desired identity. For example, instead of setting a goal to read a book, you can focus on becoming a reader. This identity-based approach to habits fosters a deeper and more sustainable change. In summary, Chapter 1 of Atomic Habits lays the foundation for understanding the immense power of small habits. By embracing the idea of continuous, incremental improvement, and focusing on the systems and processes that shape our behaviors, we can achieve lasting and significant results. Chapter 2 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How Your Habits Shape Your Identity and Vice Versa. In this chapter, James Clear delves into the profound connection between our habits and our identity. He argues that true behavior change is identity change. Our current behaviors are a reflection of our current identity. To change our habits, we must focus on the person we wish to become, rather than the specific outcomes we want to achieve. James introduces the concept of the 3 layers of behavior change: outcomes, processes, and identity. Outcomes are about what you get. Processes are about what you do. Identity is about what you believe. While many people focus on the outcomes and processes, the most effective way to change your habits is to start with identity. Clear explains that the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. When you become someone who values fitness, for example, you'll naturally adopt habits like exercising regularly. Instead of saying, "I want to run a marathon," you say, "I am a runner." This identity shift leads to more consistent and lasting change because it's rooted in who you believe you are. To create identity-based habits, James suggests focusing on small wins that reinforce your desired identity. These small wins, or atomic habits, act as evidence that you are becoming the person you want to be. For instance, if you want to become a writer, write one sentence every day. Each sentence written is a vote for your new identity as a writer. James emphasizes the importance of starting with who you wish to become. Your identity emerges out of your habits, and every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. This means that habits matter not because they can get you better results, but because they can change your beliefs about yourself. He also discusses the two-step process to changing your identity. 1. Decide the type of person you want to be. 2. Prove it to yourself with small wins. By continually aligning your habits with the type of person you want to become, you gradually reshape your identity. This shift in focus from outcomes to identity leads to more meaningful and sustainable behavior change. In summary, Chapter 2 of Atomic Habits emphasizes the critical role of identity in habit formation. By focusing on who you want to become and proving it to yourself through small, consistent actions, you can build habits that align with your desired identity and create lasting change. Chapter 3 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How to Build Better Habits in 4 Simple Steps. In this chapter, James Clear breaks down the habit formation process into 4 essential steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. Understanding these steps is key to creating good habits and breaking bad ones. First, let's explore the cue. A cue is a trigger that initiates a behavior. It can be anything from a location, time of day, emotional state, or a specific event. Cues prompt your brain to start a behavior because they predict a reward. Identifying cues in your environment can help you understand why certain habits form. Next, we have the craving. Cravings are the motivational forces behind every habit. Without some level of motivation or desire, behavior will not occur. What you crave is not the habit itself, but the change in state it delivers. For example, you do not crave brushing your teeth. You crave the feeling of a clean mouth. Then comes the response. The response is the actual habit you perform, which can take the form of a thought or an action. Whether a response occurs depends on how motivated you are and how much friction is associated with the behavior. If a particular action requires more physical or mental effort than you are willing to expend, then you won't do it. Finally, we reach the reward. Rewards are the end goal of every habit. They satisfy your craving and teach you which actions are worth remembering in the future. Rewards provide a sense of pleasure or relief, which reinforces the habit loop by making it more likely that you will repeat the behavior in the future. To build better habits, Clear emphasizes making each step of the habit loop work in your favor. This involves 1. Making cues obvious. Design your environment to make the cues of your good habits obvious and visible. 2. Making cravings attractive. Use temptation bundling and other strategies to make your desired habits more appealing. 3. Making responses easy. Reduce friction by simplifying the actions needed to perform your habits. 4. Making rewards satisfying. Use immediate rewards to reinforce the habits you want to develop. Clear also introduces the concept of the habit scorecard, a tool to help you become aware of your current habit. By listing your daily habits and assessing whether they are positive, negative, or neutral, you gain a clearer picture of your behavior patterns and can start making intentional changes. In summary, Chapter 3 of Atomic Habits provides a clear framework for understanding and influencing your habits. By mastering the cue, craving, response, and reward, you can design habits that lead to lasting, positive change. Chapter 4 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter, titled The Man Who Didn't Look Right, introduces the first law of behavior change: make it obvious. James Clear begins this chapter with a compelling story about a woman named Caroline who had an uncanny ability to predict whether patients in the hospital were experiencing life-threatening medical issues. Her intuition was based on years of experience and exposure to subtle cues that others might miss. This story illustrates the importance of noticing and responding to the right cues. First law of behavior change, make it obvious, revolves around the principle that if you want to build a new habit, you need to make the cues of your good habits obvious. Clear explains that our environment plays a crucial role in shaping our behaviors. Often, we overlook the impact of our surroundings on our habits, but our environment can either trigger or hinder our action. Clear introduces the concept of implementation intentions, which are specific plans that state when and where you will execute a habit. For example, instead of saying, "I will exercise more," you would say, "I will exercise at 6 p.m. in my living room." This specificity helps to create a clear cue for your habit. He also discusses the importance of habit stacking, a strategy where you link a new habit to an existing one. This approach leverages the strong neural connections already established by your current habits. For instance, if you already have a habit of drinking coffee every morning, you can stack a new habit by saying, "After I drink my coffee, I will meditate for 5 minutes." Another powerful tool introduced in this chapter is the environment design. Clear emphasizes that we often attribute success to willpower, but a significant factor is actually the environment. By designing your environment to support your desired habits, you can make the cues for those habits more obvious and accessible. For example, if you want to eat healthier, place fruits and vegetables in a visible location, such as on your kitchen counter, rather than hidden away in the fridge. Clear also talks about the importance of removing the cues of your bad habits. If you want to break a bad habit, you need to make the cues invisible. For example, if you want to reduce your screen time, you could remove distractions like putting your phone in another room or turning off notifications. In summary, Chapter 4 of Atomic Habits teaches us the importance of making the cues for our good habits obvious and visible. By using strategies like implementation intentions, habit stacking, and environment design, we can set ourselves up for success and make it easier to build the habits we desire. Additionally, by removing the cues of our bad habits, we can reduce the likelihood of engaging in behaviors we want to avoid. Chapter 5 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled The Best Way to Start a New Habit. In this chapter, James Clear expands on the first law of behavior change. Make it obvious. He introduces practical techniques to help you start new habits effectively and ensure they become a consistent part of your routine. James begins by emphasizing the importance of clarity when it comes to starting new habits. Vague intentions often lead to inconsistent actions. To combat this, he introduces the concept of implementation intentions. Implementation intentions are clear, specific plans that state when and where you will perform a new habit. For example, instead of saying, "I will read more," you could say, "I will read for 20 minutes at 7 p.m. in my bedroom." This specificity creates a clear cue and reduces ambiguity, making it more likely that you will follow through. Next, Clear discusses the strategy of habit stacking. Habit stacking involves linking a new habit to an existing one, creating a strong and reliable cue. For example, if you already brush your teeth every morning, you can stack a new habit by saying, "After I brush my teeth, I will meditate for 2 minutes." By connecting the new habit to an established routine, you leverage the power of your existing habits to cue new behaviors. James emphasizes that small changes can lead to significant results over time. He introduces the concept of the 2-minute rule, which suggests that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make the habit so easy that you can't say no to it. For example, if you want to start a habit of reading, begin by reading 1 page each night. Once the habit is established, you can gradually increase the duration. The key is to focus on consistency and make the new habit as simple as possible to start. Clear also highlights the importance of designing your environment to support your new habits. Our surroundings can greatly influence our behaviors. By making small adjustments to your environment, you can make it easier to perform desired habits and harder to engage in unwanted ones. For instance, if you want to drink more water, place water bottles in multiple locations around your home or office, ensuring that the cue to drink water is always visible and accessible. In summary, Chapter 5 of Atomic Habits provides practical strategies to make new habits obvious and easy to start. By using implementation intentions, habit stacking, the 2-minute rule, and environment design, you can set yourself up for success and create habits that stick. Remember, the key is to start small, be specific, and make your new habits as simple and convenient as possible. Chapter 6 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, Motivation is Overrated, Environment Often Matters More. In this chapter, James Clear challenges the conventional wisdom that motivation is the key to habit change. Instead, he argues that your environment plays a more crucial role in shaping your behavior. He emphasizes that while motivation can be fickle and unreliable, a well-designed environment can make good habits easier and bad habits harder to perform. James begins by explaining that humans are more influenced by their surroundings than they often realize. Our behaviors are largely a product of the cues we encounter in our environment. This means that if you want to change your habits, you should start by changing your environment. He introduces the concept of environment design, which involves structuring your physical surroundings to promote positive habits and reduce the likelihood of negative ones. For instance, if you want to eat healthier, you can place healthy snacks like fruits and nuts in visible, easy-to-reach places, while keeping junk food out of sight. By doing this, you make the healthy choice the obvious and easy one. Clear provides several practical examples of how environment design can facilitate habit change. For example, if you want to exercise more, set out your workout clothes the night before, or place your exercise equipment where you can't miss it. If you want to read more, place books around your home where you spend the most time, like next to your bed or on the living room coffee table. He also discusses the importance of creating an environment that reduces friction for good habits and increases friction for bad ones. Friction refers to the obstacles or effort required to perform a behavior. By decreasing friction for positive habits and increasing it for negative ones, you can nudge yourself towards better behavior. For example, if you want to watch less TV, unplug the TV and remove the remote batteries, making it slightly more effortful to turn it on. Conversely, if you want to write more, keep a notebook and pen readily available on your desk. James emphasizes that the design of your environment can either support or hinder your habit-building effort. By making the cues for your desired habits more obvious and reducing the friction associated with them, you create an environment that naturally encourages better behavior without relying solely on motivation. In summary, Chapter 6 of Atomic Habits teaches us that while motivation is fleeting and unreliable, a well-designed environment can consistently support positive habits. By strategically designing your surroundings to make good habits easier and bad habits harder, you set yourself up for success. Remember, your environment often matters more than your motivation. So take the time to create a space that fosters the habits you want to build. Chapter 7 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled The Secret to Self-Control. In this chapter, James Clear explores the concept of self-control and reveals why relying on willpower alone is not an effective strategy for long-term behavior change. Instead, he emphasizes the importance of designing an environment that naturally fosters good habits and minimizes the temptation to engage in bad ones. James begins by discussing the common misconception that self-control is the key to success. While self-control is important, he argues that it is a short-term solution that often fails when we are stressed, tired, or overwhelmed. Relying solely on willpower is like trying to swim upstream. It is exhausting and unsustainable over time. He introduces research findings that demonstrate how self-control can be depleted. Studies have shown that willpower is a finite resource, and as it gets used throughout the day, it becomes weaker. This means that even the most disciplined individuals can struggle to maintain self-control if they constantly rely on it to resist temptation. James shares the story of a police officer who used self-control to resist unhealthy foods while on duty. Over time, the officer's willpower weakened, and he found himself giving in to temptations more frequently. This story illustrates the limitations of relying solely on self-control to achieve behavior change. Instead of focusing on willpower, James suggests that we should aim to reduce the need for it by designing our environment to support our goals. He emphasizes that the best way to improve self-control is to avoid situations where you need to use it. By removing temptations and making desirable behaviors more accessible, you can create an environment that naturally encourages better choices. One of the key strategies James recommends is choice architecture, which involves arranging your environment to make the cues for your desired habits more obvious and the cues for your undesired habits less visible. For example, If you want to eat healthier, you can place fruits and vegetables at eye level in your fridge and keep junk food out of sight, out of the house entirely. James also highlights the importance of creating friction for bad habits. By making undesirable behaviors more difficult to perform, you can reduce the likelihood of engaging in them. For instance, if you want to watch less TV, you could unplug the TV and put the remote control in a different room. This added friction makes it less convenient to watch TV and encourages you to find alternative activities. In summary, Chapter 7 of Atomic Habits teaches us that self-control is not the primary driver of long-term behavior change. Instead, by designing an environment that supports your goals and minimizes temptations, you can reduce the need for willpower and make it easier to build and maintain good habits. Remember, the secret to self-control is to shape your surroundings in a way that naturally promotes the behaviors you want to adopt. Chapter 8 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How to Make a Habit Irresistible. In this chapter, James Clear introduces the second law of behavior change: make it attractive. He explores the idea that the more attractive a habit is, the more likely we are to perform it. Clear provides insights and strategies to make positive habits more appealing and therefore easier to adopt. James starts by explaining the role of dopamine, a neurotransmitter in our brain that plays a significant part in habit formation. Dopamine is often associated with pleasure, but it is more accurately linked to anticipation. When we anticipate a reward, our dopamine levels rise, driving us to take action. By making habits more attractive, we can tap into this natural motivation system and increase our likelihood of sticking with them. One effective strategy Clear introduces is called temptation bundling. This technique involves pairing an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For instance, if you want to exercise more but love watching TV shows, you could make a rule that you can only watch your favorite show while you are at the gym. By bundling a habit you need to form with something you already enjoy, you create a positive association that makes the habit more attractive. James also discusses the power of social norms in shaping our behavior. We are naturally inclined to conform to the behaviors of those around us. By surrounding ourselves with people who have the habits we aspire to develop, we can leverage social influence to make those habits more appealing. For example, joining a group or community that shares your goals can provide both motivation and accountability. Clear emphasizes the importance of reprogramming your mind to find enjoyment in habits that are beneficial to you. He suggests focusing on the positive aspects and outcomes of the habits you want to develop. For instance, instead of thinking of exercise as a chore, think of it as a way to feel energized and healthy. By changing your mindset and focusing on the benefits, you can make the habit itself more attractive. Another technique Clear recommends is creating a reward system that reinforces your desired habit. While immediate rewards can be effective, he also highlights the importance of long-term rewards. For example, tracking your progress and celebrating milestones can provide a sense of accomplishment and keep you motivated over time. In summary, Chapter 8 of Atomic Habits teaches us that making habits attractive is a powerful way to encourage their adoption and consistency. By using strategies like temptation bundling, leveraging social norms, reprogramming your mindset, and creating reward systems, you can make positive habits more irresistible. Remember, the more attractive a habit is, the more likely you are to perform it consistently. Chapter 9 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, The Role of Family and Friends in Shaping Your Habits. In this chapter, James Clear delves into the powerful influence that our social environment has on our habits. He explains that the people around us can significantly impact our behaviors, often without us even realizing it. By understanding this influence, we can better harness it to support positive habit formation. James begins by highlighting that humans are inherently social creatures. We have a deep-seated desire to fit in and be accepted by our peers. This desire shapes our behaviors, as we tend to adopt habits and routines that align with those of the people we interact with regularly. This phenomenon is known as social conformity. Clear introduces the concept of the tribe, which refers to the social groups we belong to, such as our family, friends, colleagues, and communities. The norms and behaviors of these groups create a powerful influence on our action. For example, if your friends frequently exercise and prioritize fitness, you are more likely to adopt similar habits to fit in with the group. He explains that social norms can work both for and against us. Positive habits can spread through social networks just as easily as negative ones. If you surround yourself with people who have healthy habits, you are more likely to adopt those habits. Conversely, if your social circle engages in unhealthy behaviors, it can be challenging to maintain good habits. Clear provides practical advice for leveraging social influence to your advantage. One effective strategy is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. For instance, if you want to develop a habit of reading, you could join a book club, where reading is a shared interest. Being part of a group that values and practices the habits you want to develop creates a supportive environment that reinforces your effort. He also emphasizes the importance of finding a role model or mentor. Observing and learning from someone who has already achieved what you aspire to can provide valuable insights and motivation. Role models demonstrate that change is possible and offer a blueprint for success. Clear encourages us to evaluate our social circles and consider how they influence our habits. If certain relationships are hindering your progress, it may be necessary to set boundaries or seek out new social connections that align better with your goals. This doesn't mean completely cutting off old friends, but rather finding a balance that supports your growth. In summary, Chapter 9 of Atomic Habits teaches us that our social environment plays a crucial role in shaping our habits. By surrounding ourselves with people who embody the habits we want to develop, joining supportive communities, and seeking out role models, we can harness social influence to build and maintain positive behaviors. Remember, the people around you can be one of the most powerful tools in your habit-building toolkit. Chapter 10 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How to Find and Fix the Causes of Your Bad Habits. In this chapter, James Clear addresses a crucial aspect of habit formation, understanding and addressing the root causes of your bad habit. By identifying the underlying triggers and motivations behind your unwanted behaviors, you can develop strategies to eliminate or replace them with healthier alternatives. James begins by explaining that every habit, good or bad, is driven by a desire to solve a problem or fulfill a need. Bad habits often arise from trying to cope with stress, boredom, or other negative emotions. To change these habits, it's essential to identify the cues that trigger them and the rewards they provide. Clear introduces the concept of behavioral cues and explains that there are 4 primary types: time, location, preceding events, and emotional state. By understanding which cues prompt your bad habits, you can begin to disrupt the automatic loop and create new, healthier patterns. He suggests conducting a habit scorecard, a simple exercise where you list your daily habits and identify the cues and rewards associated with each one. This process helps you become more aware of your behaviors and the triggers that drive them. James emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and honesty in this process. Understanding why you engage in a bad habit, the first step toward changing it. For example, if you find yourself snacking late at night, consider whether it's triggered by hunger, boredom, or stress. Once you identify the cues and underlying motivations, Clear offers several strategies to address them. 1. Reduce exposure to cues. If certain environments or situations trigger your bad habits, try to avoid or modify them. For instance, if you tend to overeat when watching TV, consider finding a different activity to unwind. 2. Make bad habits less attractive. Focus on the negative consequences of your bad habits and the benefits of avoiding them. By reprogramming your mind to see the downsides, you can reduce the appeal of engaging in these behaviors. 3. Replace bad habits with good ones. Rather than simply trying to eliminate a bad habit, find a positive alternative that satisfies the same need. For example, if you smoke to relieve stress, consider adopting a healthier stress relief technique like exercise or meditation. Or design your environment. Make it easier to perform good habits and harder to engage in bad ones. For instance, if you want to reduce your smartphone use, create friction by placing your phone in another room while you work. James also highlights the importance of identity-based habits. By focusing on the type of person you want to become, rather than just the outcome you desire, you can create a stronger foundation for change. For example, instead of aiming to lose weight, focus on becoming a healthy and active person. In summary, Chapter 10 of Atomic Habits provides valuable insights into identifying and addressing the root causes of your bad habit. By understanding the cues and motivations behind your behaviors and implementing strategies to disrupt and replace them, you can effectively eliminate unwanted habits and build a healthier, more productive lifestyle. Remember, self-awareness and a proactive approach are key to long-term change. Chapter 11 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, Walk Slowly, but Never Backward. In this chapter, James Clear emphasizes the importance of making consistent progress, no matter how small, and ensuring that you avoid backsliding in your journey of habit formation. He introduces the third law of behavior change. Make it easy. This principle focuses on reducing the friction associated with positive habits, making them more accessible and sustainable over the long term. James begins by sharing a powerful concept. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. This shift in focus helps create an identity-based approach to habit change, where you align your actions with the type of person you want to be. Clear highlights the importance of taking small steps and maintaining a commitment to gradual improvement. He introduces the idea of decisive moments, which are the small choices we make throughout the day and significantly impact our habits. By making the right choices in these decisive moments, we can set ourselves up for success and prevent backsliding. To illustrate this point, James shares the story of British cycling coach Dave Brailsford and his concept of the aggregation of marginal gains. By focusing on making tiny improvements in every aspect of cycling, Brailsford was able to lead the British cycling team to unprecedented success. This approach demonstrates that small changes, when compounded over time, can lead to significant results. James then introduces the 2-minute rule, which states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to begin with, ensuring that you can consistently perform them without much effort. For example, if you want to start a habit of reading, begin by reading just 1 page each day. The key is to master the art of showing up and making your habits easy to start. Clear also emphasizes the importance of automating your habits to reduce the need for willpower and decision-making. By creating systems and routines that make positive behaviors automatic, you can ensure that you continue to make progress even when motivation is low. For instance, if you want to exercise regularly, you could schedule your workouts at the same time each day and prepare your gym clothes in advance. Another strategy James discusses is the use of habit tracking. By keeping a record of your habits, you create a visual reminder of your progress and provide yourself with a sense of accomplishment. Habit tracking can also help you identify patterns and make adjustments as needed to stay on track. Chapter 11 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, Walk Slowly, but Never Backward. In this chapter, James Clear emphasizes the importance of making consistent progress, no matter how small, and ensuring that you avoid backsliding in your journey of habit formation. He introduces the third law of behavior change. Make it easy. This principle focuses on reducing the friction associated with positive habits, making them more accessible and sustainable over the long term. James begins by sharing a powerful concept. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. This shift in focus helps create an identity-based approach to habit change, where you align your actions with the type of person you want to be. Clear highlights the importance of taking small steps and maintaining a commitment to gradual improvement. He introduces the idea of decisive moments, which are the small choices we make throughout the day and significantly impact our habits. By making the right choices in these decisive moments, we can set ourselves up for success and prevent backsliding. To illustrate this point, James shares the story of British cycling coach Dave Brailsford and his concept of the aggregation of marginal gains. By focusing on making tiny improvements in every aspect of cycling, Brailsford was able to lead the British cycling team to unprecedented success. This approach demonstrates that small changes, when compounded over time, can lead to significant results. James then introduces the 2-minute rule, which states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to begin with, ensuring that you can consistently perform them without much effort. For example, if you want to start a habit of reading, begin by reading just 1 page each day. The key is to master the art of showing up and making your habits easy to start. Clear also emphasizes the importance of automating your habits to reduce the need for willpower and decision-making. By creating systems and routines that make positive behaviors automatic, you can ensure that you continue to make progress even when motivation is low. For instance, if you want to exercise regularly, you could schedule your workouts at the same time each day and prepare your gym clothes in advance. Another strategy James discusses is the use of habit tracking. By keeping a record of your habits, you create a visual reminder of your progress and provide yourself with a sense of accomplishment. Habit tracking can also help you identify patterns and make adjustments as needed to stay on track. Chapter 12 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled The Law of Least Effort. In this chapter, James Clear explores the concept that humans naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. He emphasizes that to build lasting habits, you must make them as easy as possible to perform. This principle aligns with the third law of behavior change: make it easy. James begins by discussing how our brains are wired to conserve energy. Given 2 options, we will often choose the one that requires less effort, even if we know the other choice is better for us. This tendency can be harnessed to make good habits more sustainable and bad habits less appealing. He introduces the idea of reducing friction, which means minimizing the obstacles between you and your good habits. By lowering the barrier to entry, you make it easier to perform the desired behavior. For example, if you want to read more, keep a book next to your bed or on your living room table. By reducing the effort needed to start reading, you increase the likelihood that you'll do it. James also discusses the concept of environmental design. This involves structuring your physical surroundings in a way that supports your goals. For example, if you want to eat healthier, arrange your kitchen so that healthy foods are more accessible than junk food. By designing your environment to make good choices easier and bad choices harder, you can naturally steer your behavior in the right direction. One practical strategy Clear introduces is prime your environment. This means preparing your surroundings in advance to make your good habits easier to follow through on. For instance, if you want to go to the gym in the morning, set out your workout clothes the night before. By making everything ready and easy to access, you reduce the effort required to get started. James emphasizes the importance of decisive moments, those small decisions that set the tone for your actions. By making sure that these moments are easy and straightforward, you can ensure that you follow through with your habits. For example, deciding to brush your teeth immediately after dinner can set you on the path to a good nightly routine. He also talks about the concept of downscaling your habits. This involves starting with the simplest version of your habit to make it as easy as possible. If you want to start meditating, begin with just 1 minute per day. Once the habit is established, you can gradually increase the duration. The key is to start small and make the habit so easy that you can't say no. In summary, Chapter 12 of Atomic Habits teaches us that to build lasting habits, we must make them as easy as possible to perform. By reducing friction, designing our environment, priming our surroundings, and starting small, we can make good habits the path of least resistance. Remember, the easier it is to do something, the more likely you are to do it consistently. Chapter 13 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How to Stop Procrastinating by Using the 2-Minute Rule. In this chapter, James Clear introduces a simple yet powerful strategy to overcome procrastination and build better habits. 2-Minute Rule. This rule states that when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to begin, ensuring that you can consistently perform them without much effort or resistance. James begins by addressing a common challenge we all face: procrastination. He explains that procrastination often occurs when tasks feel too overwhelming or time-consuming. By breaking down these tasks into their smallest possible steps, you can make it easier to get started and build momentum. The 2-minute rule helps you focus on the first step of any habit. By making the initial action so simple and quick, you lower the barrier to entry and make it easier to get started. For example, if you want to develop a habit of running, first step could be putting on your running shoes. If you want to build a habit of reading, the first step could be reading 1 page. James shares the story of a reader named Mitch, who used the 2-minute rule to establish a habit of exercise. Mitch committed to going to the gym every day, but his goal was simply to drive there and stay for 2 minutes. By focusing on the easy task of just showing up, Mitch was able to build a consistent habit that eventually led to longer and more effective workouts. Clear emphasizes that the goal of the 2-minute rule is not to achieve a perfect workout or finish an entire book in one sitting. Instead, it's about mastering the art of showing up. Once you start the habit, it's often easier to continue. The key is to make the first 2 minutes so easy that you can't say no. He also discusses the importance of establishing a ritual or routine that signals the beginning of your habit. This routine helps create a sense of consistency and predictability, making it easier to stick with the habit over time. For example, if you want to build a writing habit, you could start by opening your laptop and writing 1 sentence each day. James highlights that the 2-minute rule is a gateway habit. It helps you establish the behavior and build the identity of someone who performs that habit consistently. Once the habit is established, you can gradually increase the duration and complexity of the task. Key is to start small and build momentum. In summary, Chapter 13 of Atomic Habits teaches us that the 2-minute rule is a powerful tool for overcoming procrastination and building better habits. By making the initial step of any habit easy and quick, you can lower the barrier to entry and create a sense of consistency. Remember, the goal is to master the art of showing up and build momentum over time. Chapter 14 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How to Make Good Habits Inevitable and Bad Habits Impossible. In this chapter, James Clear introduces the 4th law of behavior change: make it satisfying. He emphasizes that making your habit satisfying increases the likelihood that you will stick with them. On the flip side, making bad habits unsatisfying helps you avoid them. Clear provides practical strategies to ensure your good habits are rewarding and your bad habits are difficult to maintain. James begins by discussing the importance of immediate rewards. He explains that humans are wired to prioritize immediate gratification over long-term benefit. This tendency can make it challenging to stick with habits that don't provide immediate rewards, even if they offer significant long-term benefits. To counter this, Clear suggests creating a reward system that provides immediate satisfaction after completing a good habit. One effective strategy Clear introduces is habit tracking. By keeping a visual record of your habits, such as marking an X on a calendar each day you complete a habit, you create a satisfying sense of accomplishment. Habit tracking provides immediate evidence of your progress and can be highly motivating. James shares the story of comedian Jerry Seinfeld. H.O. used habit tracking to build a consistent writing habit. Seinfeld's goal was to write jokes every day, and he tracked his progress by marking a calendar with an X for each day he wrote. The goal was to keep the streak going, creating a visual reminder of his consistency and progress. Clear also introduces the concept of a commitment device. Commitment device is a choice you make in the present that controls your actions in the future. By using commitment devices, you can lock yourself into good behaviors and make it harder to engage in bad ones. For example, if you want to save money, you could set up an automatic transfer to your savings account each month. Another strategy Clear discusses is accountability. By making your habits public and involving others, you increase the stakes and create a sense of accountability. For instance, you could join a group where members share their progress and support each other in achieving their goals. Knowing that others are watching can provide the extra motivation needed to stay on track. James emphasizes the importance of never missing twice. Everyone slips up occasionally, but what matters is how quickly you get back on track. By committing to never miss a habit twice in a row, you can prevent small setbacks from turning into long-term failures. This approach encourages resilience and consistency. In summary, Chapter 14 of Atomic Habits teaches us that making habits satisfying is key to ensuring they stick. By providing immediate rewards, tracking your progress, using commitment devices, and creating accountability, you can make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible. Remember, the goal is to create a system that rewards positive behaviors and discourages negative ones, making it easier to maintain your desired habits over the long term. Chapter 15 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled The Cardinal Rule of Behavior Change. What is rewarded is repeated, what is punished is avoided. In this chapter, James Clear delves into the fundamental principle that underlies all behavior change. Behaviors that are immediately rewarded get repeated, and behaviors that are immediately punished get avoided. This concept is at the heart of the fourth law of behavior change. Make it satisfying. James begins by explaining that the immediate outcome of a behavior often determines whether it will be repeated. Immediate satisfaction or reward encourages us to continue the behavior, while immediate discomfort or punishment discourages it. This principle highlights the importance of focusing on short-term feedback to shape long-term habits. Clear emphasizes that while our ultimate goals and the long-term benefits of our habits are important, it's the immediate rewards that have the most significant impact on our daily behaviors. To leverage this, we need to find ways to make good habits instantly satisfying and bad habits immediately unsatisfying. He introduces the concept of reinforcement and explains how it can be applied to habit formation. Positive reinforcement involves adding a reward immediately after a behavior to increase the likelihood of it being repeated. For example, if you treat yourself to a small piece of chocolate after a workout, you create a positive association with exercising. James also discusses the role of negative reinforcement, which involves removing an unpleasant stimulus to encourage a behavior. For example, you dislike the noise of an alarm clock. You might get out of bed quickly to turn it off, thus reinforcing the habit of waking up on time. To make bad habits unsatisfying, Clear suggests adding an immediate cost to the behavior. This can be done through accountability measures or self-imposed penalties. For example, if you want to reduce your screen time, you could use an app that locks your phone after a certain amount of usage, or involve a friend to hold you accountable. James introduces the idea of a habit contract, formal agreement with yourself or others that outlines the consequences of not sticking to your habit. By putting your commitment in writing and involving others, you create a sense of accountability and introduce immediate consequences, not following through. Clear shares the story of a man who wanted to lose weight and created a habit contract with his wife and personal trainer. For every missed workout, he had to pay a significant sum of money to his wife. This immediate financial penalty made skipping workouts highly unsatisfying, helping him stick to his exercise routine. In summary, Chapter 15 of Atomic Habits teaches us that the cardinal rule of behavior change is to make good habits satisfying and bad habits unsatisfying. By focusing on immediate rewards and consequences, we can shape our behaviors and ensure that positive habits are repeated while negative ones are avoided. Remember, what is rewarded is repeated, and what is punished is avoided. Chapter 16 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How to Stick with Good Habits Every Day. In this chapter, James Clear focuses on the strategies you can use to maintain good habits consistently. He highlights the importance of making habits satisfying and introduces practical methods to ensure you stick with them over the long term. James begins by discussing the significance of habit tracking. Habit tracking involves recording your behavior, which provides a visual cue and immediate reinforcement for your efforts. By keeping a habit tracker, you create a simple reminder of your progress and give yourself a satisfying sense of accomplishment each time you mark off a day. This visual proof of your consistency can be highly motivating and help you maintain your habits over time. He shares the story of Benjamin Franklin, who meticulously tracked 13 personal virtues in a journal. Franklin used his tracking system to monitor his behavior and improve himself gradually. This historical example demonstrates the power of habit tracking in fostering self-improvement and consistency. Clear emphasizes the importance of establishing a streak. A streak is the consecutive days you perform a habit without missing. The longer your streak, the more motivated you are to keep it going. Psychological impact of seeing a long, unbroken chain of completed habits can be a powerful motivator. To help maintain a streak, James introduces the never miss twice rule. He acknowledges that everyone slips up occasionally, but what matters most is how quickly you get back on track. You miss a habit one day, commit to never missing it twice in a row. This approach ensures that small setbacks don't turn into long-term failures. James also discusses the idea of creating a habit contract. A habit contract is a formal agreement that outlines the consequences of not sticking to your habits. By writing down your commitments and involving others, you create a sense of accountability. This external pressure can help you stay motivated and consistent. Clear shares the story of two friends who made a habit contract to help each other lose weight. They agreed on specific penalties for missed workouts and involved their social circle to hold them accountable. The immediate consequences of not following through on their habits helped them stick to their exercise routines and achieve their goals. In addition to habit tracking and habit contracts, James highlights the importance of finding intrinsic rewards in your habits. While external rewards can be motivating, it's crucial to find satisfaction and enjoyment in the habit itself. This intrinsic motivation ensures that you continue the behavior even when external rewards are not present. He encourages readers to reflect on the benefits and positive experiences associated with their habits. By focusing on the immediate and long-term rewards of a habit, you can cultivate a sense of satisfaction that keeps you engaged and committed. In summary, Chapter 16 of Atomic Habits provides practical strategies for sticking with good habits every day. By using habit tracking, maintaining streaks, creating habit contracts, and finding intrinsic rewards, you can ensure your habits remain satisfying and consistent. Remember, the key to long-term success is making your habits enjoyable and reinforcing them with immediate rewards and accountability. Chapter 17 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, How an Accountability Partner Can Change Everything. In this chapter, James Clear emphasizes the power of social accountability in habit formation. He explains how having an accountability partner can significantly increase your chances of sticking to good habits and breaking bad ones. James begins by discussing the concept of social influence and how humans are inherently social creatures. We are deeply affected by the expectations and opinions of those around us. Leveraging this social aspect can be a powerful tool in behavior change. He introduces the idea of an accountability partner, someone who holds you responsible for your actions and goals. This person can provide support, encouragement, and honest feedback, which can be incredibly motivating and help you stay on track. By regularly checking in with your accountability partner, you create a sense of obligation to follow through on your commitment. Clear shares the story of a businessman named Brad Stulberg, who wanted to improve his writing habit. Stulberg partnered with a friend and fellow writer to form a mutual accountability system. They agreed to send each other their daily writing progress, which created a sense of responsibility and helped both of them develop a consistent writing habit. James explains that an effective accountability partner should be someone you respect and trust, who will hold you to high standards. This person should be supportive, but also willing to call you out when you fall short of your commitments. Key is to create a relationship where you feel a positive pressure to meet your goals. Clear also discusses the concept of social contracts. These are formal agreements you make with others to hold you accountable for your habits. A social contract can involve setting specific goals, timelines, and consequences for not meeting your commitment. By involving others, you increase the stakes and create a stronger motivation to succeed. He highlights the importance of public commitment. By sharing your goals and progress with a larger audience, such as friends, family, or social media followers, you create an additional layer of accountability. The fear of public failure can be a powerful motivator to keep you on track. James provides practical tips for finding and working with an accountability partner. He suggests looking for someone who shares similar goals or values and scheduling regular check-ins to discuss progress and challenges. This consistent communication helps maintain focus and commitment. Clear also encourages readers to be an accountability partner for others. By helping someone else achieve their goals, you create a reciprocal relationship where both parties benefit from the support and accountability. In summary, Chapter 17 of Atomic Habits highlights the significant impact an accountability partner can have on your habit formation journey. By leveraging social influence, creating social contracts, and making public commitments, you can increase your motivation and chances of success. Remember, having someone who holds you accountable can change everything and help you achieve your goals. Chapter 18 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, The Truth About Talent, When Genes Matter and When They Don't. In this chapter, James Clear delves into the relationship between genetics, talent, and habit formation. He explores how our genetic predispositions can influence our abilities and preferences, and how understanding this can help us develop better habits. James begins by discussing the concept of nature versus nurture. He explains that while genetics play a significant role in determining our potential, they are not the sole factor in our success. Our environment, experiences, and habits also play crucial roles in shaping who we become. Clear introduces the idea of the genetic lottery, the idea that we all inherit certain traits and abilities that can influence our success in various areas. For example, some people may have a natural inclination toward athletics, music, or mathematics due to their genetic makeup. However, he emphasizes that genetics are only one part of the equation. He explains that while genes can set the range of our potential, it is our habits and behaviors that determine where we fall within that range. In other words, genetics provide the foundation, but it is our consistent actions and habits that build upon it and lead to success. James shares the story of Michael Phelps and Hicham El Guerrouj to illustrate his point. Phelps, with his unique physical attributes, is naturally suited for swimming, while El Guerrouj's body type makes him an exceptional middle-distance runner. Both athletes have capitalized on their genetic strengths through relentless practice and disciplined habits. Clear emphasizes the importance of finding your niche. He suggests that to maximize your potential, you should focus on areas where your natural abilities and interests align. By leveraging your strengths, you can make habit formation more enjoyable and sustainable. When you work within your genetic advantages, you are more likely to succeed and maintain long-term motivation. He introduces the concept of personality-based habits. Clear explains that understanding your personality traits can help you design habits that are better suited to you. For example, if you are naturally extroverted, you might find it easier to develop social habits, while introverts may prefer solitary activities. By aligning your habits with your personality, you can increase the likelihood of success. James also discusses the idea of adaptive strategies. He explains that, while it's essential to play to your strengths, it's also crucial to adapt and develop skills in areas where you may not have natural talent. This adaptability allows you to overcome genetic limitations and achieve a well-rounded skill set. In summary, Chapter 18 of Atomic Habits explores the truth about talent and genetics. While genetics set the range of our potential, it is our habits and behaviors that determine our success within that range. By finding your niche, leveraging your strengths, and designing personality-based habits, you can maximize your potential and achieve your goals. Remember, success is not solely determined by your genes, but by the consistent actions you take to build upon them. Chapter 19 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled, The Goldilocks Rule, How to Stay Motivated in Life and Work. In this chapter, James Clear introduces the Goldilocks Rule, a principle that states humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current ability. The idea is that tasks should not be too easy or too difficult, but should present just the right amount of challenge to keep you engaged and motivated. James begins by explaining that the human brain loves a challenge, but only if it is within an optimal zone of difficulty. When a task is too easy, we become bored. When it's too hard, we get discouraged. The Goldilocks rule helps us find that sweet spot where the task is manageable, still requires effort and concentration. Clear illustrates this concept with the story of Steve Martin, famous comedian. Martin didn't become an overnight success. He gradually honed his skills over many years, always pushing himself to improve without overwhelming himself. This gradual increase in difficulty kept him motivated and engaged, eventually leading to his breakthrough. James explains that finding your optimal level of difficulty is crucial for sustaining motivation. He suggests breaking down your habits and tasks into manageable steps that gradually increase in difficulty. This approach ensures you stay challenged and motivated without feeling overwhelmed. Clear also discusses the importance of measuring your progress. Tracking small wins and improvements can provide the feedback you need to stay motivated. By focusing on incremental progress, you can maintain a sense of achievement and momentum. He introduces the concept of flow, a mental state where you are fully immersed and focused on the task at hand. Achieving flow requires working on tasks that are challenging but achievable, aligning perfectly with the Goldilocks rule. When in a state of flow, time seems to fly by, and productivity soars. James emphasizes that achieving flow and maintaining motivation also involves managing distractions and maintaining focus. He suggests creating an environment conducive to concentration, setting clear goals, and eliminating interruptions to stay in the optimal zone of difficulty. Clear shares practical tips for applying the Goldilocks rule to your habits and work. He recommends periodically reviewing and adjusting the difficulty of your tasks to ensure they remain challenging but achievable. This continuous adjustment helps you stay motivated and avoid plateaus. In summary, Chapter 19 of Atomic Habits introduces the Goldilocks rule, a principle that helps you stay motivated by working on tasks that are neither too easy nor too difficult. By finding your optimal level of difficulty, breaking tasks into manageable steps, and focusing on incremental progress, you can maintain motivation and achieve a state of flow. Remember, staying in the sweet spot of challenge and ability is key to sustaining motivation in life and work. Chapter 20 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This chapter is titled The Downside of Creating Good Habits. In this chapter, James Clear addresses a less often discussed aspect of habit formation, the potential downsides. While developing good habits is essential for success and productivity, there are also pitfalls to be aware of to ensure that our habits continue to serve us well. James begins by explaining that habits by their nature become automatic. This automaticity is both a strength and a weakness. While it allows us to perform actions without much thought, it can also lead to mindlessness. When we rely too heavily on habits, we risk becoming rigid and failing to adapt to new situations. He shares the story of a professional chess player who, after years of practice, became so set in his ways that he struggled to adapt to new strategies and opponents. This example illustrates that while habits can build expertise, they can also create blind spots. Clear emphasizes the importance of continuous improvement and self-awareness. He introduces the concept of deliberate practice, which involves consistently seeking to improve and refine your skills, even in areas where you are already proficient. By staying mindful and regularly challenging yourself, you can prevent stagnation and maintain a high level of performance. James also discusses the danger of over-relying on good habits to the exclusion of other important activities. For example, someone who is highly disciplined in their work habits might neglect their social relationships or physical health. Balancing different areas of life is crucial to avoid becoming overly fixated on a single aspect. He introduces the idea of identity-based habits, which are habits that align with your core values and long-term goals. While these habits can be powerful, they also carry the risk of creating an inflexible self-identity. You define yourself too narrowly by your habits. You might struggle when circumstances change or when you need to adopt new behaviors. Clear suggests periodically reviewing and adjusting your habits to ensure they remain aligned with your current goals and values. This flexibility allows you to adapt and evolve, avoiding the trap of rigid behavior patterns. James provides practical tips for maintaining a healthy relationship with your habits. He recommends setting aside time for reflection and self-assessment, asking yourself whether your habits are still serving you well or if they need to be adjusted. Additionally, he advises seeking feedback from others to gain new perspectives and identify potential areas for improvement. In summary, Chapter 20 of Atomic Habits explores the potential downsides of creating good habits. While habits are essential for productivity and success, they can also lead to rigidity, mindlessness, and an inflexible self-identity. By staying mindful, embracing continuous improvement, and regularly reviewing your habits, you can ensure they continue to serve you well and adapt to changing circumstances. Remember, the key to effective habit formation is balance and self-awareness. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Atomic Habits by James Clear. We've explored the power of small habits, science behind behavior change, and practical strategies to build a better life, one step at a time. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, even the smallest habits can lead to remarkable results. Whether you're just starting out or refining your existing habits, these principles will help you stay on track and achieve your goals. If you found this summary helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the world's best books. Let's continue to learn and grow together. Until next time, keep building those habits and take control of your future. One small change